Welcome to the final XW video. There's no more after this. I'm finished. This is the very last one, I promise. There's a couple of things I've got to do that I'm going to change later on, like some of the stainless mouldings, the front's too low, that sort of thing. But that can all come later. I'm not fussed about that. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of doing this video, I want to thank a couple of people. And the first one, of course, is the Crump family. And I met Michael and Jill Crump quite a long time ago. I taught their daughter when she was in year 7, which is quite a few years ago now. She's all grown up now. And we met at a parent-teacher interview, and of course the interview I think was supposed to go for about 5 minutes and ended up going for about half an hour or something. We just got talking, we just hit it off. And of course it was Jill's idea. I mentioned it to her, I've got to get some work done, and she said get him to do it. And of course I felt bad, and Michael's one of these people that doesn't like being paid back. He's got a lot of personal pride, I suppose, and I've done what I can to help him where I can. And of course he came here and he must have spent, I reckon, 30 odd hours in doing the metalwork here. He's welded all the patches I've cut in, he's reconstructed the A-pillars, replaced the floors, put a bucket seat brace in, rebuilt around the back window, you name it, he's done it. Filled in badge holes, all sorts of things. And so he spent an awfully long time here doing that. And what's particularly notable about this car is the metalwork is a lot better than the panel fit and paint that I've done. So I'm very, very grateful to him. So thank you, Michael, if you see this. Of course, the other guy I want to mention is Jason Hill. Another big thanks to Jason. He was the one who helped me with the headlining, and he's also reconstructed all the front seats to make those stupid covers I bought fit. Of course, they didn't fit at all. The back seat I had about 4 goes at. I couldn't get the back seat to fit at all, the back seat cover, and he redid it, of course. So he's done an awful lot of work for me, and I'm doing his wiring now. And the wiring is a big job, but it's not the big job that he had. So I'm thankful to him too. So thank you as well, Jason, if you see this. A couple of other guys I want to thank are 2 of my suppliers, and one is Ray Kwan. I've got his number here. Ray is a supplier of old Ford parts in a factory in Bayswater, and he will go to the end of the world to help you. If you want parts, go to Ray. He'll give them to you. Now, the thing about Ray is if you're going to go in there and try and sort of screw him around, he'll show you the door. He's got a short fuse for people that are a bit foolish. But if you're on side with him and if you're genuine in what you want, he'll do everything for you that he can. And the other, of course, is John at Old School Auto Parts. John has 2 shops. He's got one in Campbellfield, I think, and one in Bayswater. I'll put his number here, John. And he undercut a lot of other suppliers of GT parts, that sort of thing. And he's a very, very nice man. He's more well-mannered than Ray. If you do something that John doesn't agree with, he'll sort of giggle and then say he doesn't agree with it, but he's a wonderful, wonderful man. And what I do want to mention about those 2, Ray and John, is just be careful when you buy parts online auction sites. Quite often the parts are very, very much overinflated in price. And if you do go to see these 2 guys at Old School Auto Parts and also Ray in Bayswater, quite often you'll find they're a lot cheaper, because they're not greedy and they know what the parts are worth. So just be mindful of that when you're buying parts. So they're the 2 main suppliers I used. I'm not getting anything out of this. They're not sponsoring me. They haven't given me any free parts. But I was particularly impressed with them because they're honest and down to earth. So they're good as well. And one other thing I want to mention is the fact that now, much to my surprise, I have over 500,000 views on YouTube, which absolutely blows me away because 500,000 people have never listened to anything I had to say before. Unless it's something stupid, then of course everyone hears that. But I also want to thank the people that have been watching this, so thank you very much. Now on to the video. Well, I'm about to start doing more work on the tail shaft. The only problem is, of course, it's 2 degrees Celsius in here, so it's a little bit cool. Today's the 19th of July, which marks, well, tomorrow marks the 2 years exactly since I started taking to this car with a screwdriver and a spanner. Right, I'm just doing a couple of finishing touches to the car, putting this wood grain trim on, and I've popped a hole there. And of course, here's the other piece. Now, there's a small spigot there. Now, I've just put a little bit of this car polish on there, and that'll help me place where the hole goes. So I'm just going to put it in. I've just got the camera sitting on the seat at the moment, and it's actually quite hard to get it just right because I'm looking at it on a funny angle. No, that's not right. There it is there. And it'll just leave a little mark where you've got to drill your pilot hole. Right, well we can close the book on this one now. There's my old ignition points in case something goes wrong with the Pertronix igniter. We can just bang those in and we're on the road again. And shut the glove box door on my XW that smells like a new car. Well, that's a case of do as I say, not as I do. You shouldn't really do that, running a car on a jack stand, but there was a couple of reasons why I wanted to. It's up on jack stands, which are locking jack stands, and also on the jack itself. I wanted to see if the auto was shifting. I also wanted to see how the tail shaft was going, because I had a lot of trouble getting uni joints, the right uni joints for it. And so I wanted to make sure it was all settled and central at the same time. So I'm looking for tail shaft vibration. So I'm going to put it down on the ground. It'll be the first time. I think that today's the 23rd of July. It's exactly 2 years and 3 days since this car's moved under its own steam. Taking quite a lot of transmission fluid to fill it up. It lost drive toward the end there, so I've just filled up a whole lot more. I don't know how much they take, but it's a lot. By the time you're filling converter, and all that sort of thing. Sitting there on ad, maybe a little bit extra, but that should pretty much do it. Well, there are a couple of little issues, and one of them, the idle's high. Obviously I've got to adjust that. The transmission needs to settle. Once it goes up and down the driveway a few times, I can, and certainly once it's got its permit, it can go up the road and back. It'll certainly give a more accurate indication of how much I have to top it up. But the handbrake's dragging, so I've got to look into that. There's a problem with the handbrake. But this is the first time it's moved under its own steam, so I'm really, really happy with how it's gone. You touch the thing and it lights up on the driveway, but that's down to sort of a wet driveway and narrow tyres. But it certainly feels like I wanted it to feel, which is very torquey straight off the bat. So for today I'm going to pack it up. I've got to go to work now. Go get dressed and go to work and do a few things there. It's Saturday today, so back into this probably tomorrow or through the week. Well, it's 20 to 8 in the morning and we're going to go and get the exhaust fitted now. I've just done a couple of last minute checkups. Got the battery and I've got to cut these a bit shorter. They're a little bit too long. But time to start him up and load it up and get it to the exhaust shop. Hoping I don't wake all the neighbours up. Come on. I've got a love letter here for the exhaust guys. So here we go. Well, as you can see, the XW is not here. It's off having the exhaust fitted. I took it yesterday morning and was supposed to get back last night and it didn't. And today it was going to be ready and it's not. They've had to custom make a few parts for it. Engine pipes that's got different manifolds, all that sort of stuff on it. So it's getting like a GT system where the two pipes come out the back corners. It's going to be a bit more expensive than I thought it would be. But they're doing a good job. It's got slip joints, that sort of stuff in it, which is all good. I've sold my Y block, which was over here, to sort of fund it, and I'm ready to. I'm sort of looking forward to getting it back, because after that we get the front end alignment done, and then it's off for Roadworthy. So hopefully I'll be driving it around quite soon. I drove it up there, and although it was noisy, it drove really, really well, and my guesstimate sort of front end alignment is pretty good too. It didn't do anything it shouldn't have done, and so I'm sort of keen to get it back, as I said, but I've got to go to work now. I'm working backstage in a school production, which is why I'm wearing all this stuff, so no one can see me. So until I get it back, see you later. Well, I got the idle a little bit too high, so I have to adjust that. Look how quiet it is. I have to take the air cleaner off to do the idle. We've got a new exhaust system now. I don't know, I reckon it sits a bit low. It's like a GT exhaust. I've got to sort out a few teething issues with it. Namely, it's a bit too close to the brake and fuel line at the back there. I think that's a bit better. Stereo, sounds good. It feels nice and torquey. I'm really impressed with how it feels. It's lovely. It's very stiff. It's all very new, and particularly now the car's been in the sun, the interior really smells like a new car, and I absolutely love that. It's priceless. You can't sort of you can't replace that, I suppose. Well, you can, but it's unusual in a car that's so old to smell so new. Beautiful to drive. It feels a lot tighter than my XD, and that's a really, really good car. It's a nice tight car. So we're in for Roadworthy next week. There's a few things I've got to do on this car. I'm sort of in the garage now trying to get around. Of course the brake line and the fuel line down there is too close to the exhaust. Also just little things like this. I'll open that a bit. I've got to trim that bit of headlining back. The pinch weld's over the headlining. It just needs to be trimmed back. It's poking out. It doesn't look very tight. You've got to do things like that. I still haven't finished off that the headlining either with those joiners. I was going to wait for the weather to warm up to take them off and sort of mess around with them a bit. But also the throttle spring, I've got to straighten the steering wheel. Forgot about that. And also the throttle springs, not quite tight enough. It's not returning to idle as well as it should, so I need to look at that as well. But we're ready for Roadworthy almost. That should be done in the next week. Right, well I'm under the car now, and one of the concerns I had was this brake line was right across the exhaust here. And I've ended up making a bracket. I probably should have just got a different brake line for it, but I've made a bracket here, an extension bracket, just to extend that out from the original part. Hopefully that's roadworthy. If it's not, I'll have to have a new brake line made up. But I think that'll suffice for now. And of course the other issue I had was this fuel line up here was awfully close around the exhaust as well. So I've sort of rerouted that. Might wrap some stuff around it, not really sure. I'll show the roadworthy chap, see what he reckons, but that should suffice as well. It's got sufficient distance there. But you can see down there, the exhaust is all in. The lighting in here is dreadful. And there it is all under there, and it's sort of looking quite good. And so I've used all the proper hangers and all that sort of stuff, so I'm pretty happy with that. And the other thing I need to do, of course, I need to re-bleed the brakes, because I had to split that line up there. So that's no big deal. There's plenty of clearance there, but I don't know what they look like originally. I don't have anything to compare it to. Well, I'm pretty happy because I got the car back from the roadworthy tester and he didn't find anything. He's given it a clean bill of health. And what makes me particularly happy is this guy I use is an absolute stickler. And he always finds little bits and pieces here and there, and he's a big one for structure on cars, things like speaker holes that have been cut, that sort of thing. But of course, he's passed this car with flying colours, which is really, really good. And I'm familiar with the Roadworthy system. I used to do the Roadworthys for a Prestige and Nissan dealership, and you know, I know exactly what's involved with them, although things have changed since I used to do them. Now, I can't show you the Roadworthy certificate because I've already sent it off to the club president, and that, along with, and the system's changed a bit now actually. They've got a vehicle eligibility form, as well as the club permit application form and the Roadworthy, and that's all been sent off to be signed off, and then I can finally go to Vic Roads and get the plates, and then we can drive it properly, and it's all finished. There are one or two things that I will change later on. Some of the stainless mouldings I'm not very happy with. I think it's a little bit low at the front. Not that wrapped with that. And the back sits a little bit high, so its stance isn't exactly what I wanted. I've got to put on the windlace joiners for the padded windlaces around the windows on the inside, and move that little bit of headlining up and tuck it in, and sort of tuck it away. There's little bits and pieces like that, but I'm not going to go into that with this video. As far as I'm concerned, once it's roadworthy, the car's finished, at least for the purpose of these videos. And of course, then we can get some footage of it on the road, that sort of thing, and then we can pretty much call it quits. And after that, of course, we'll get into this XC, but that's a different thing. So I'm pretty happy right now. Well, when people help you get a car ready, you sort of feel obliged, and you want to help them back with their car. This is Jason's wiring loom out of his wagon. It's an XW Falcon wagon, and it's had all sorts of modifications. I've changed the fuse box because the other one was sort of cut here, and joining that wire was going to be a pain in the neck, so I've changed all that. I've also put a heavier alternator feed in. He's got an 85 amp alternator now, so I've put a heavier feed in there, or a charge wire. The coil feeds are all changed. It had the resistance wire. I've taken it out because I put an electronic in. All sorts of bits and pieces there. The car also runs electric backlight or rear window. Of course, it's got its own loom with a relay, so I've put a feed in there, a nice heavy feed there for it, and rerouted its washers because he wants to run a bottle in a different place, as well as leaving the standard washer wiring in there, and also driving lights, and converted it from an auto manual loom and put radio wiring in with a switched and constant feed, also with speakers and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. There's other bits of it sort of over there on the floor. That's a V8 loom over there that's been hacked, and there's bits of loom here and there's bits of loom up there, so I'm just doing that for him, and hopefully anytime soon I'll be finished. Now here's my book, and there's another lovely chap in the club, Robert Bothwell. He's a terrific bloke, and it was selfless of him to sort of give this to me. He just gave it to me, and it's a magazine with a full test of the XW Fairmont GS, and of course he understood that I'd probably get more pleasure out of this magazine than he had. He'd had it for a while, and he just sort of passed it on to me, which I thought was really generous, so thank you, Rob. This is the book for the XW, and it's all been finished, and it's all full. And I kept a diary every time I came out and did a bit of work on it. I kept a diary, and of course there's all the planned alterations and all this sort of stuff. And don't forget, I knew exactly what I was doing with this car, and I wrote this a long time ago, very soon after I bought the car, within the first couple of weeks, and everything that's there is exactly what I planned for. Now, the restoration started on the 20th of July 2013, and some of the red things are sort of the significant parts, but each thing's dated, and you can see the amount of work that's gone into it over this last 2 years. And it's all sort of documented here, and had a break when I did the starlets, and this sort of stuff, kids' birthdays, this sort of thing. But it's finished on the 20th of the 8th, so it's been, I think, a month over what I originally planned, so 2 years in a month. And of course these are all the parts and the dates I bought them. And all up it's come to was $29,342, and then I sold off a lot of the old parts that came with the car, so the net amount after everything was done was $27,404. So that's all done. I can shut the book on this car here, put it to one side, and of course I've got this new book which is empty, and that's on the XC. You can see there, and of course the only thing I've got in here so far is a PPSR, which is a personal property securities register check on the car. And whenever you buy a second-hand car, you must spend the $10. You can get a comprehensive one, I think, for about $35, but you must spend this money because it'll tell you if the car's stolen, and it'll also tell you if there's any finance owing. So I've no doubt after the XC is finished, this book will look something like that one. My head will be in the way. Do you like it?
No.
Hang on, I'll shut the door. Okay, 2 years ago, miss, jump in the car, I took you for a drive. We'll go to the same drive again. Oh. Just want it more comfortable now. I think he's on today, so Mike could be sitting down there.
Yeah, I heard them screaming from here.
So, this is it before we pulled it apart. Make sure I don't hit my Commodore. Alright. Oh, well, first drive when it's legally on the road. And you should notice, do you remember a couple of years ago when we did this?
Yeah, it's hard to forget.
I said I don't want to hit my Commodore, it was parked there. Well, it drives a bit differently now though. Do you feel that horsepower, miss?
Tough to compete with this car.
Feel that power. A bit noisy. Do you remember when we went around this roundabout down here?
Yep.
Oh.
Ow!
You right?
We need seatbelts first.
Yeah,
It's still a bit bumpy.
no, it's all got sort of stiff suspension in the front. And it's a different car to drive. It's much nicer to drive. I want to get out of this estate because there's too many cars around. Yeah, I'm not loving it at the moment, but I'll tell you what, when this is done,
It'll still be crap.
no, it will be.
Worse?
No. This will, but you'll want it. You will say, Dad, I want that car.
Have you met me? It's not exactly my type of car.
So, would you like this car now?
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
I just spent a whole lot of money and time on it, and I promised you 2 years ago you would love this car. Do you love it?
No.
Oh! There is a noise.
There's a smell too.
Well, it's all new material, so the exhaust is probably still burning its paint off. And it's there are teething issues, you know. I mean, there's not many now. It's pretty good, but there is a rattle in here somewhere in the dash that I've got to sort out.
Yeah, well, you honked at him.
No, I didn't.
What did you expect?
I just wanted to see if the horn was working. I mean,
Well, it's working.
I didn't see the guy on the side there. They've got to concentrate. You don't know what they're going to do.
I am the best daughter ever. Are we gonna go take pictures, Dad?
I'm going to do something really wanky, but
Everything you do is wanky.
can't handle me like that. I want to go down. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just go down here.
There's some nice houses down here.
This is where I grew up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm coming down here, because this way down.
Oh, the driveway.
Yeah, right. Got to get one down here too. I feel like a bit of a dick doing this, but what do you do?
You look like a bit of a dick.
Do I? Do I really?
Yeah.
How stupid. Maybe after I've been dead for 30 years you'll kind of get it.
Are you checking your hair in the mirror?
I did. I actually did. I was supposed to get a haircut 4 weeks ago and I didn't get it done. And it looks terrible. I didn't even wash it last night. It was really manky.
Bye bye, train. Pardon?
Film me reversing down the road. There are a couple of things I haven't mentioned in the past videos about this car, and that's the very reason I always wanted one. To be quite honest, it's going to sound like I'm having a huge midlife crisis, and I'll tell you what, if it is, I couldn't care less. I've been really enjoying it. You see, the older I get, the faster life seems to pass by. We now appear to live in a very rapid-paced and uncertain world. Although inevitable, our technology-rich times mean that change is a way of feeling far more prevalent now than it ever did before. There just never seems to be enough time to bask in the moment. So on the odd occasion, it's nice to take a couple of steps back from these ultra-fast times and seek refuge in a place where life was completely uncomplicated. One of those places for me was as a kid in the 1970s. So I've taken a trip to Heathmont to get a few photos, and here's its inspiration, parked in precisely the same place 44 years ago and almost to the day. I've just built a tribute car. Not a full replica by any means, just a representation of a chapter in my life and the lovely memories it reignites. Way back in September 1971, my father bought this new XY Fairmont at a cost of $3,700 from Allen Coffey Ford in Ringwood. After 8 years had passed, it had clocked a little over 80,000 miles when he traded it on another new car, a Nutmeg V8 XW Falcon. That event took place on the 10th of May in 1979. When I decided to purchase this car, I had the intention of leaving it as a 6-cylinder Falcon 500 and making some pocket money when it came time to sell it. But all that changed when I jumped in the car to drive it home. I had an epiphany. From my first tactile encounter with this car on the 9th of July 2013, I had the look you see now and the specifications completely decided and haven't deviated from it since. This was to be a tribute car I intended to enjoy, and I have, irrefutably, more than any other car I've restored or recommissioned in the past. This XW is a mishmash of a lot of things I like about Fords, particularly the XW and XY Falcon range. I love the GT 351s and they are relevant to me. I used to watch Bathurst as a kid and my brother had a GT in the early 80s. We even had a genuine Phase 2 parked in the driveway for a very short while. But it sort of belonged to someone else. Great memories. But you know what? Even though I'd love one, well, they're a little out of my reach. Anyway, the car I was to build would be far more modest. When I look back and consider the old XY, it represented the whole family package. The holidays, going to live in Yarrawonga, the school run, that kind of thing, the family stuff. So with this car I wanted something subtly different and yet something that looks like it could have been factory article. This car has a little bit of Ford Mustang in it. The colour of choice, Wimbledon white, is a 1960s Mustang colour. I just didn't like the correct XW whites enough, despite originally intending to paint it polar white. The engine came from my brother's Mustang and the transmissions from a Mustang as well. I also like the Americanised engine bay, although not the satin black like they paint them. Little odds and ends here and there that separate it from the bulk of other XWs we see. Then there are the XY Fairmont influences, the entire interior from the headlining and upholstery to the change of saddle painted metalwork. The only exterior reference to the XY are the wheel covers, but they're originally derivatives from the Mustang anyway. End of the day though, it's just a Falcon. This car owes me, as well as my wife and children, about $27,500 and I think 1,300 hours of labour. If I were to pay someone to restore this car, it'd look a lot better, but it just wasn't a possibility to do it that way. When it's all said and done though, who cares? The 1st of November this year, 2015, will be Dad's 90th birthday, and on a more sombre note, the 24th of November marks 30 years since we lost him. Certainly not a celebration of his death, but another reason to remember him. So at that end, I'm going to dedicate this car, to my father Ethel Anderson and the fond memories I have of another old family car. See you later.